Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm down here at my bench, but this video is not going to be about jewelry related content, but it's very cold outside. I had filmed the intro to this video a few times outside because it's a nice place for natural light. I don't have to set up the studio lights, but it was just way too cold and it's really windy. So I was like, you're not going to be able to hear anything I say because the wind is going to drown me out. So here we are. We're going to do the intro to this video down here. We have a fire going in the basement. It's warm. I have plenty of natural light in front of this window. It will work. I'm going to, in this video, make two things. I want to make an all-purpose cleaner and I want to make a lotion because it is so disheartening to pick up the back of your shampoo bottle or your dish soap or lotion or toothpaste or whatever it is, and pretty much everything is just laden with junk, with crap that doesn't need to be in there, that's bad for you. None of it is even a food derivative. It's all chemicals made in a lab. None of it's even natural. And I'm sick and tired of doing that, and I'm sick and tired of worrying about that and being concerned about what is that doing to me and my health. More importantly, what is that doing to the health of my child? So I've bought some books, different books that I can read, several that have some recipes so I can compare recipes and kind of think about it and probably make a recipe of my own, something that I think will fit the use that I have, or I should say the use I have for it or the need I have. So I'm going to make the all-purpose cleaner. That's going to go in a spray bottle. I'm going to put it in a plastic spray bottle because I don't have a glass one, so that'll work for now. And I think part of it too is baby steps. I mean, I think some of this you just have to do little bit by little bit as you can, you know. But before I go upstairs and start that process, I wanted to show you one of the muffins that I made. I said in a prior video, it depends on when this video goes out. If this video goes out tomorrow, it'll be in yesterday's video that I mentioned a muffin recipe that I was going to try for the holidays, because sometimes people have food restrictions. Sometimes people can't do wheat, they can't do dairy, can't do eggs, whatever. And so I want to, and I'm in that boat this year because of Ira's food sensitivity since I'm still nursing him. So I thought, what if I could come up with a recipe that people could use and enjoy? So I did use a recipe I found online and I tweaked it a little bit. So I'm going to continue to use that recipe to try to, kind of as a base, I guess, to try to do some different stuff with it. So I'm going to put the link to that recipe in the description below. But what I did is I used almond flour and coconut flour instead of all-purpose. And I actually added raisins to these muffins. So these were banana muffins, but they ended up being banana raisin muffins for me. For the eggs, this recipe calls for 1 large egg. I did not use an egg. I used an applesauce as a replacement. You could also use flax eggs, and I think I'm probably going to do that next time with this recipe. I'm going to add 2 flax eggs instead of 1 large egg because I think, and I didn't do the egg right, I did the applesauce. I think that would help the texture of the muffins. They're kind of crumbly, but they still taste good. So it's kind of dense. It's kind of heavy. Just take a step back or Binks will have his nose on this muffin. So you can see the raisins. You can see, come over here with it. You can kind of see, okay, he's continuing to lean off the bench. You do not like this. This is not, you won't want to eat this. This is not for you. So you can see that the texture of this muffin is kind of crumbly. It's not really like a super round, what would you say, symmetrical muffin, but it's still really good, and it tastes really good for what it is, right? Because it sucks to not be able to cook with butter or eggs or dairy or wheat flour. So without having any of that stuff in it, this tastes pretty good. So I will go ahead and put the link to that in the description below, and then I guess we're going to just get into this video. Right, Binks? What do you think about it, huh? What do you think? He's still looking at the muffin. You just can't have a muffin. I can give you a fish treat, though. I have some, like, dried whole fish, and he loves those. You could have that, yeah. Okay, as you can see, it's later in the day. I meant to, right after lunch, start making this cleaner, and that did not work out. That's okay, because I'm going to make it now. This is the book, Homemade Cleaners, that I've got this recipe out of, and like I said, I'm kind of mixing 2 recipes, so this is an all-purpose cleaner, so I have to mix vinegar, castile soap, baking soda, and water, and then I'm going to add a little bit something to that at the end. So I'm going to mix the vinegar, the castile soap, and the baking soda first, and stop and wait for a minute for it to stop reacting, and then add the water. So I decided to do a voiceover and speed part of this video up here. So I did the baking soda, the castile soap, then I had to add the vinegar, And then I had to add some water and let that baking soda and vinegar sit there and react for a minute before I could kind of combine it all, shake it all around, and then pour it into the spray bottle. Have no fear, I'm going to put the recipe in the description below. Now this, what's inside this jar that I'm going to use, and I can refer to my little book again just to be sure, is something called Thieves oil. So it's my own little blend of Thieves oil that I made by combining several different essential oils, and so I wanted to put a few drops of this in here as well, because this book talks about it being a really good kind of like disinfectant. So if you wanted to make a disinfectant spray, it said you could use 1 cup of water and 8 to 10 drops of Thieves oil. So there's 2 cups of water in here, so probably like 20 drops, I think. This is me using the cleaner to wipe the surface of the table, and I really like it. It seems like it does the job, and it smells delicious. So, the lotion, as far as that goes, this is the book I'm going to use as a go-by, and I'm going to change this recipe up a little bit too, based on what I have and what I want to use. I've got some other books coming that aren't here yet. I've got another book that may have some body lotion recipes in it. So I'll have to look in that when it gets here. But this recipe that I'm going to kind of change up a little bit is for a tallow body butter. So I've got some beef tallow, I've got some shea butter, and for one of the oils I'm going to substitute sweet almond oil because I have that. And the recipe calls for a little bit of essential oil and vitamin E oil. One thing I am probably going to do is infuse my sweet almond oil with chamomile flowers. I bought some because chamomile oil is incredibly expensive. So I'm just going to make my own little infusion, and I'm going to do it the fast way on the stove top because I want this lotion and I want it now. If I had thought ahead of time, I could have done a slow infusion or what's called a cold infusion and just put my flowers in my oil and set it in a windowsill for a few weeks. I guess I'm going to collect my materials and we can get started on this, guys. Okay, guys, this is how I'm going to infuse this chamomile flowers into this oil. I'm going to use the bottom part of my double boiler, and I'm going to turn the stove on and just let this gently simmer for a little bit. It really doesn't need to get above like 110 degrees. So I've got a thermometer, I'll check it at, and we'll just let it roll. Of course, the longer you let this go, the stronger the infusion will be. So ideally you would let it go all night or several hours, or of course you would have done the cold method and just put it in the window, but that's okay. I let this one go a few hours here. Okay guys, it's the next morning. Last night I was so tired, I thought, you know what, it's getting late. I think I'll just wait until the morning to finish the lotion. So here's this ready to go. All I need to do is strain the leaves off, the flowers off, my shea butter, my beef tallow for this recipe, the vitamin E, and then I've also got some essential oil. Well, this is an essential oil, that's lavender, and this is calendula oil. Calendula is so good for your skin. If you have a cut, a burn, bruise, some sort of problem, lavender is good for that too. So my recipe tells me that I need to get my double boiler out and melt my shea butter and my tallow. That's going to be the first thing that I'm going to do, so I'm going to start there. Real quick, I'm just going to strain the liquid, the oil, out of these flowers. Okay, so I'm now going to turn on the double boiler, turn it on low, and I need to melt this is a half a cup of beef tallow, so I have to melt that. I have to get a spoon for that, and the shea butter. Oh, that was good, y'all. Did you see that? I'm doing really good this morning. Next, I put the shea butter in there to sit and melt. Now we put the lid on, and we wait for this to, as Corey would say, Corey's here with me, says, crank it up, Katie, get that steam going. So I stuck my hand in the water under this pot, and I was like, Katie, that's not even warm. I said, you need to crank this thing. I make everything take longer than it has to because I'm worried I'll burn it. So I'm like, let's go really, really slow. Okay, this stuff's melting. Give it a little stir. But I got this down. I got this on lock. Got this figured out. Okay, so this stuff is melted. So now I'm gonna add this oil. That was my chamomile infused sweet almond oil. And give it a little stir here. And the recipe says once it's melted, add that in, stir it well, and then take it off the heat and put it in the refrigerator for 5 minutes. So that's what we're gonna do. I got it out of the refrigerator. It has cooled some, and now it's time to add the oil. So the recipe calls for, peppermint, but instead of peppermint, I'm gonna do lavender. So it says to do 1 teaspoon of peppermint. I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of lavender. It calls for 2 teaspoons of this vitamin E oil. I can do that, and then this calendula oil, the recipe does not call for, but I'm going to place that in there anyway because it's very good for your skin. So this will be 1 teaspoon of lavender, and this is half a teaspoon, so I have to do 2 of these. There's 1, and there's 2. Okay, so there's the oils. Okay, so it calls for 2 teaspoons of this, and this is half, so I have to do 4. So we'll have, there's 1. Okay, that's the last little bit of that. Now I have to decide how much of the calendula oil. I was talking to Corey about it, and Corey said maybe 1 teaspoon would be good. So I think I'll probably just do 1 teaspoon and hope that this doesn't jack with the recipe because this was just something I wanted to add. So there's 1. Calendula oil is so good for your skin. It's amazing. It really is. It has healing properties. Okay, so that's it. Now we just gotta give it a stir, I think, and then it's going to go set in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. Then we're gonna pull it back out, and we're going to get the kitchen mixer after it and whip it and turn it into kind of like a body butter. What are you doing? You gonna get in the video? Come over here, you can be in my video. Okay, well, Dad can be my video for 1 minute. What do you think about this?
What is that? Does that go on a cake or?
This is lotion, and I have to tell you, I'm not gonna lie, it's got a Funktown smell. It's the shea butter. The shea butter really gives her a Funktown smell. So here's to hoping that when I whip it, it will smell less funky. Did you think it was food?
No, I'm just making a joke.
You knew what was in it?
No, I don't know what's in it.
Do you think it's got a funky smell?
Yes. It smells like the inside of a 55-gallon drum.
You know something? It does.
I got to go by.
Okay, bye. I'm not really sure if that's how shea butter smells, how it's supposed to smell. Maybe because it's unrefined that it smells like that. But the whole point of, yeah, I don't know about that. The whole point of getting unrefined shea butter was so that it would have all of the properties of the butter intact to be the best for your skin. I guess the benefits of unrefined oils is what I was after. So it's also possible that because shea butter has a scent like that, it's very possible that the book recommended peppermint, because peppermint's probably good for your skin, instead of lavender, because lavender, it's possible that has only accentuated the Funktown smell. I'm not really sure, but that's okay. This is the first time I've ever done this, and you gotta learn somehow. So basically, I think all I have to do now is just whip this kitchen mixer in a bowl. I'm gonna read my recipe again. Using a mixer, whip until fluffy, store in a safe container, and use as often as desired. Okay, I guess I can pour this into the bowl. Probably gonna need something to get the rest of that out with. I ended up switching to this KitchenAid because I whipped for like 30 minutes until my arms were vibrating, and I was like, I don't know about this. I was definitely getting it whipped, but it was just taking a while. So I thought, what if I switched to the KitchenAid and let it whip a little bit like that? And as you can see, it's definitely like a lotion consistency. I would probably call this done. I don't want to over whip it. It's real light and kind of fluffy. So probably going to call that done. I'll take this out of the KitchenAid and bring it over here with me. Okay, guys, so I went to the basement where Corey's got some of her soap stuff stored, and I rounded up these. These are containers that I can put this lotion in. I'm going to do 2 containers. If I have more than what will fit in the 2 containers, I'm going to put the extra in this jar, but the reason I'm going to do 2 is I'm going to keep one and I'm going to give one to Corey. These are plastic containers. These are going to work just fine for now, but eventually I'd like to get some glass jars to put some of the stuff like the lotion, or if I plan on making anything else, some of the stuff I want to make. I just like it better in glass, but it's okay for now. And I do have this if I have extra. So this is what I ended up with. This is what it looks like, and I have some theories. I have some thoughts about first going through this process, like I guess my first time through, some things that I would do different next time. One thing is I believe that refined and unrefined oils have they behave differently and they smell differently. So for unrefined shea butter, it kind of has a heady smell. Dad said it smelled like the inside of a 55-gallon drum. It's kind of got a funky smell, and I think that that's just its natural state. I think that's just how it is normally. So I think some essential oils would pair up better than others with the oil. That being said, sometimes you're looking for what would you say, an aromatic, however you say that. Sometimes that's what you're after. I wasn't really so much caring about exactly what it smelled like, as far as I was interested in the skin benefits, and lavender oil is really good for your skin. So, but I do think that the lavender smell, like the lavender aroma, kind of mixes in a weird way with this unrefined shea butter, and kind of probably ups the ante on the heady smell it's got. So that's okay. So those are just some things that I feel like I learned from my first time. I also learned that it would be way faster and easier to do this in a kitchen mixer, KitchenAid, other than just like doing it by hand, because I whipped for like 30 minutes and I could definitely see that I was getting somewhere with it, but it was just kind of getting harder and harder to stand there and do that. The way I knew it was working is it was kind of tracing, like when Corey makes soap. I've been involved in that process, and I was like, this lotion is tracing. That was just me understanding it was getting thicker. So the whip on it, I think I got a pretty good whip texture. It's light, it's fluffy, it's a little bit stiff, which is good, and that means it's going to hold that, it holds its fluff, holds its shape. Spoon some into here, and then probably in this video. So something I want to try next time, a different possible recipe, is I had some cocoa butter. I want to try to work with that. I might want to try to incorporate some olive oil, coconut oil, different oils, different ratios, just to find out probably what we like best as far as what it feels like on our skin, but what works best. That's going to be the kicker about all of this, is what works best for these boys' skin, what works best for anybody who tries this. I may try to get some family members to test it out just so I could collect some data. So this packs in there pretty well, and this is interesting. When you think like when you first have your initial volume of oils that you've melted and chilled, when you get it out and you look at it and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to whip this and turn it into lotion. You look and you say, this isn't going to be a lot of lotion. But as you whip, I guess since you're introducing air into the oil, your volume increases. And so now I'm like, wow, this is a lot of lotion. So I may have to give this to a family member, to somebody to use. They can see what they think about it. I've got some labels that I'm going to put on here, on the lid, so I know what it is, but more importantly, I know when I made it. Of course, I could go back and look at when I published this video. Because this is Saturday, y'all, and this video is going out today. So I'm really excited about this. I feel like this was a really fun first experience. Alright, I've been using some of the cleaner I made to clean with. For one, I think this bottle is just cheap, and it kind of leaks a little bit. It's a little bit like stopped up. But this cleaner is really interesting. I feel like it definitely cleans. The pleasant smell that it has is also another benefit, but probably because it has some of that glycerin in it, a little bit of soap. sometimes I feel like it may leave a little bit of a trace of like soap lines behind it, like streaks almost, but that's okay. I think what you could do to mitigate that would be to put less castile soap into the mix or water it down, so I may add a little bit of water to it. So this is kind of what the lotion looks like. You can see it's creamy. You can see it, a little bit of the oil, like the oiliness of it. Okay, so it's pretty oily, I'm not gonna lie. It's, you know, it's looking pretty greasy. But it feels really great. It feels like super, super moisturizing. It's just a little bit greasy, kind of what it looks like. So you can see the consistency is nice. I mean, it's really soft. All right, well, I think I'm going to sign off here. Take this lotion with me. It's just something I've never done before, and I'm hoping to grow and get a little bit better at it. I'm thinking, too, I thought that I could substitute, you know, it said 1 teaspoon of peppermint oil. I'm like, oh, I'll just put 1 teaspoon of another essential oil, lavender oil. And I know that each oil has a different set of properties, so it could be that, too, that the 1 teaspoon was too much, and if I was going to use lavender oil, I should have used something else. It could also be that this recipe, that's just the nature of this. There's probably something that you could do to mitigate some of the oiliness, and I will research that. But all right, well, God bless you, God keep you. Thank you for watching. I gotta go so I can edit this video, and we will catch you at the next one. Yeah, we will. Bye. Just gonna kind of disappear. Bye.